I want to talk about why I think everyone over 40 should consider starting a YouTube channel. And it's more than about money. Yes, the financial part of YouTube can be very rewarding. In fact, it saved my financial life a few years ago. I'll get more into the financial part towards the end of the video, but I want to talk about a couple other reasons besides money on why I think it's important or why a YouTube channel might be beneficial for those in their 40s, 50s, 60s, and older. The first reason is the community aspect of YouTube. You know, we all have something that we love talking about, we love doing. We could talk about it for hours, right? But those around us might not have the same love or passion for it. And this, for you, it can be gardening or cooking, photography, saltwater aquariums, training a dog, walking, losing weight, fitness, playing the guitar, playing the drums. You get it, right? Endless, thousands and thousands of niches. For me, that thing is why I'm starting this channel. I love talking about online business. I love finding online businesses, figuring out how they're making money, who they're helping, how they're helping them, how they could be making money. You know, what their niche is worth for ads? You know, is it in a niche that pays a lot? Do they have affiliate links on their site? Are they selling courses and memberships? I could talk about it for hours. You know who doesn't have the same enthusiasm for online business as I do? My wife. So this is a good example of what I mean of why having a YouTube channel around something that you love could be beneficial. So my wife could care less about online business, at least talking about it. She loves kind of unwinding for the night by reading a book or watching Grey's Anatomy. She can do those for hours. Two things that I don't care about. So she'll be sitting there watching Grey's Anatomy and I'll be next to her kind of scrolling, and I'll find an online business idea that looks interesting and I'll go through it and spend 10 or 15 minutes figuring out all the little nuances and things about the business. And I'll go, hey, I got to tell you about this business that I just found. And she'll pause her show and just go, mm-hmm. And right then I should take the clue, you know, oh, you don't care about this, but I keep going. And I'm like, so I found this girl and she has curly hair and she has built a community around curly hair and helping those with curly hair. My wife is like, yeah, that's great. And no, I'm like, no, she's making like $3,000 or $4,000 per month. She has like affiliate links to all these things. She's helping teach people how to style their hair and how to, you know, take care of their hair. And she's got sponsors on her videos. And she just goes, that's great. And I finally take the clue and I'm like, fine, like get back to your little show. And she goes back to her show and I go back to scrolling by myself. And I was like, what better place than YouTube to build a community around online business and talking about this? Because I know if I do this consistently, YouTube is amazing at going out and finding an audience. So they're going to go out and they're going to find people that probably want to hear me talk about online business. At least enough to check out a couple of videos, right? So the community building aspect of it is amazing because you're building this group of people who are like-minded, who will love to hear you talk about it. They might ask questions in the comments or give their ideas in the comments, and then you respond to them, and then you make more videos about that topic. And it's like you finally found your people. You finally found a group of people who enjoy the thing that you enjoy and want to talk about it just as much as you do. So that's reason number one, building a community around something that you love to talk about or love to do, and it doesn't matter what it is. That can be wonderful for people in their 40s, 50s, and 60s. As you know, maybe their circle of friends starts getting smaller. People are, you know, I moved across the country in my mid-30s. I left all my friends behind, started over. I have other friends who I've met who, you know, have kids who are off to college now. So their free time is spent traveling to wherever their kids are, or maybe their kids are out of the house now and they're traveling more. So it just, your circle of friends just starts to kind of spread out. And I think having a community that you build around a topic that you love is one of the biggest benefits of YouTube. Another benefit, I think, is kind of having a sense of purpose, a reason to show up, right? So again, as we get older, 40s, 50s, 60s, there's so many life changes. So if you have kids, you know, I have 3 teenagers right now. My oldest is off to college in a couple months. I have 2 more that are close behind. And already as teenagers, I see it. Like they're always off in different directions. You know, we don't do so many things as a family of 5 anymore. We still do things. We take vacations, you know, we do what we can, but their schedules are crazy. And so it's like, that's kind of a void there where I used to have like so much of my time was spent planning, taking care of them, figuring everything out of what we were going to do together. And now it's like, oh, like everyone's kind of gone, right? They're all doing their own thing. And then there's the career part of it. So I had a wedding photography business for 15 years that got destroyed by the pandemic, which again, we'll get into in a minute. And I had like, even though I didn't think about it a lot, I didn't realize until it was gone that I got up every morning and I signed on to my email and I had people to help, questions to answer, you know, things to plan, timelines to plan. I would get to a wedding. My whole day was spent making people, you know, feel their best, be happy, have a great experience. It was a sense of purpose. I'm not saying it was my only sense of purpose, but it was like I had something to look forward to and do. Same with my kids when they were younger. We always had things to look forward to as a group. Now that I'm 53 years old, a lot of those things are changing. And I started realizing a couple of years ago when I started building my first online business that this is another way, like I have another reason to show up now. I'm building a business around a group of people, a YouTube channel around a group of people, and they like when I show up. They're expecting me to show up. They have questions for me. And it's like, it gives you that sense of belonging again. It gives you a reason to show up. And I think that is so important as we get older to have a reason to show up. I've seen family members of my own. I've had friends who have family members and I've seen them retire and they might go wild for a couple of years and travel all around and they're having a great time. But then they start kind of slowing down, you know, their kids are out of the house. They don't have a job to go to. They're not helping anyone with anything. They're just kind of there. They're having fun. Vacations are fun, but it's not all the time. It's not forever. And the people who don't do something after retirement, I've found start aging very quickly. I see it. It's sad. You know, and I don't know if this is the reason, but I think there is a reason. When you lose a sense of purpose and you have no reason to show up for somebody and help somebody and encourage somebody, I think it just does something to people as they get older. I have an aunt who a long time ago, she passed away, but a long time ago when she was still alive, this is when I was a teenager, she lived in San Francisco by herself into her late 80s, completely on her own. Nobody took care of her. She'd walk down the street, buy her groceries, go to the bakery, buy a couple donuts, go back to her apartment in San Francisco in a pretty rough neighborhood. But every single day, Monday through Friday, she walked down. She was a nurse when she was working. She would walk down to the hospital and donate her time in the children's wing. And again, it was, even though it wasn't for money, it was a sense of purpose. She still had something to look forward to and someone to help. A reason to kind of it wasn't just kind of, everything wasn't just fun and vacations, right? There was a reason. And I think that's what kept her healthy for so long. I think that's what kept her feeling young and looking young. I also have family members who retired and that was it. They stopped working and then they just kind of worked around their house. They get together at holidays and I watched them age so fast. And it was, I'm not saying, I don't have proof that they're, that's the cause of it, but I I think it makes a big difference to have a purpose. And I think YouTube is a wonderful place to do that. Because if you build a channel and a community around this group of people, around something that you enjoy doing, you want to show up for those people. So that's another reason. And now to the financial part of YouTube, which is, it saved my financial life. I'm not going to get into too many details in this video just because I want to kind of keep it to what the topic is. But I'll touch on it in other videos. And if you have any questions, you can leave them in the comments below. Basically, I had a wedding photography business for 15 years. Pandemic hit in 2020. I had no backup, very little savings. Within a year and a half, we had built up about $45,000 in credit card debt. I mean, talk about anxiety and fear and stress. It was horrible. I don't wish those feelings on my worst enemies. Not that I have enemies, but you know what I mean. You know the saying. So luckily, right after the pandemic hit, I started Googling how to make money online. I found Pat Flynn and a couple other people who I took advice from. And luckily they were, straight shooters when it came to building something online. Followed their advice, had a lot of ups and downs, made a lot of mistakes, but eventually I was able to build an online business that I ended up selling, paid off our debt, paid off most of our debt, built a little bit of a cushion, and then realized I had 2 other online businesses that I wanted to build from scratch in a much bigger and better way than the first business. The first business that I sold, I built out of desperation. It was just, it was a topic that I knew about, but I didn't really care about. And I wanted to build something bigger. And so my wife and I started 2 other online businesses that we're currently growing now. But then I was like, well, I want this channel. I want to help people build an online business. I love talking about it. I know that there's others that can benefit from the mistakes I've made, the success that I've had, more probably from the mistakes that I've made. And then I started thinking, for this channel, what would have benefited me when I built that first online business? And I thought back to the people that I was listening to, and everyone kind of had, they were talking about building an online business on YouTube, but they were already businesses that were built and successful. And so I was like, I would have loved to have seen a business being built from the start, which isn't very common online, because nobody wants to show the in the weeds stuff when you're not making any money. So I decided, as part of this channel, in a series that I'm going to start next week, I'm going to build a business from scratch to $3,000 per month. Traffic's going to come primarily from YouTube. I'm going to show you the entire process, how I take 8 to 10 ideas that I have, how I narrow it down to 1, research those ideas, see how, what the competitors look like, how people are making money in the space, how I can help that audience, what problems they have, how I can help them, what can I make that solves those problems. What kind of content do I make to bring in traffic? How do I monetize? What are the different ways? And literally do a step-by-step of, this is what I'm doing this week. And you can follow along. I'll share all the analytics, no gatekeeping. Everything will be out in the open. You'll be able to see it in real time. Once the structure and systems are built, kind of in place, after probably a month, 2 months maybe, then I'll probably go live every single week to give an update and answer questions. So you can jump on, ask any questions that you want. I'll be an open book. I will answer other questions that people leave in other videos, but I'll give up-to-date analytics, how many hours I spent this week, what did I do, what the traffic numbers look like, has the site made any, or the channel made any money yet? I'm telling you now, it's going to be 0 for a while, because in the real world of online business, it's not get rich quick. You don't start a YouTube channel and expect it to pay your bills next month. There's YouTube channels out there that promote that. They're probably selling you a big course on the back end of it. And I would just ignore those channels. Yes, it happens once in a while. It's not realistic. So this is going to be very realistic. Like, it's not going to be my full-time job. So you're going to see like how somebody would build a business from scratch to $3,000 a month using just kind of like side hustle time. And then another series of the channel, because I geek out over how other businesses are built. So I'm going to take all of these businesses that I find, and every week I'm going to pick 2 or 3 of them, and I'm just going to kind of do like a quick 10-minute video showing you the business, what the niche is, how they're helping their audience, you know, how they're getting traffic, what kind of content they're making, what they're selling, what the niche, like, is it lucrative when it comes to ads? Because certain niches might pay $1 or $2 for 1,000 views on YouTube, but some might pay $15, $20. And that way you can get a very like big picture into all of the different ideas that are out there. Just because I'm already looking these things up for fun, it's a weird hobby of mine. But I thought people could benefit from seeing what's realistic and what's really out there. And then the third pillar of the channel is going to be just kind of some life advice from someone who's 53 and made a ton of mistakes. I've made a ton of financial mistakes. I've built up a ton of debt. I've gotten out of debt. And I feel like there's people behind me that can benefit from some of the things that I've done, learned, the mistakes I've made. And someday, who knows, you know, maybe my kids someday in the future, these videos will live on and there'll be a ton of advice in there for them. Right now they're teenagers. They just kind of, my son, whenever I go to talk and give them kind of lessons about like, and I'll say, oh, like, let me tell you. And they go, back in my day. That's their favorite thing to do to me. So teenagers are the best. Anyways, that's kind of the future of the channel and my reasons for why I think that everyone over 40, 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, until you can't do it anymore, why building a YouTube channel can be very beneficial. So hope to see you back. If this channel is something that you think that you'll enjoy and benefit from, please subscribe, and I'll be back every week. Thanks.